Meeting come to order. Dr. Versa.
Yes, good evening, board members, and good evening, community and staff and students. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Janice Hernandez, who is going to lead us into invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiances.
Lord, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and speech. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez.
You need to backdate it? Huh? You need to backdate it or put today's date?
Yeah,
Today's date.
Sorry.
All right. The next thing is to canvass the votes.
Yes, sir. On September 10th, Southwest ISD held a tax ratification election to increase the total tax rate to $1.603. Back in July of 2016, the board passed an ordinance that if it passed, they would drop the INS rate by 13 cents due to the increase of the M&O rate at $1.17. 301 ballots were cast. The results were 235 for and 66 against, with a 78% passing rate. The district contracted Berry County Elections to hold the tax ratification election. The expenditure is about $19,000, close to 20. Today, we're asking the board to approve the canvass and results of the 2016 tax ratification election.
Do we have any questions?
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. The next thing is recognitions.
Yes, sir. This year, we continue a tradition that we started a few years back to recognize some of our outstanding students at our elementary, middle school, and our high school. And so I'd like to turn over to Ms. Hernandez. I'm going to come stand up here, and as Ms. Hernandez calls the student's name, she'll read a short bio about our students of the month and ask them to come forward. I think this meeting, we're actually going back to capture August, since we've been in school now. And so we have 2 students in elementary, we have 2 in middle school, and I believe we have 1 in high school, correct?
Correct.
I'll just turn over to her and let her get started on the elementary students.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Verstoff. During tonight's recognition, we will acknowledge the 2 elementary schools, 2 middle school students, and 1 high school student. So we're going to start off with our first student for tonight from Big Country Elementary School. Gerardo Israel Padilla, or also known as GI, is a 5th grade student at Big Country Elementary. He is a gifted and talented student who enjoys competing in the spelling bee and exploring Earth Day presentations. GI is driven to be the top of his class and makes improvements as needed to stay on top. In his free time, GI acts as a master of ceremonies for our talent show, plays the piano, is a brown belt in karate, and is a semi-expert in Minecraft. He plans to be a teacher when he graduates college.
Congratulations.
Yes, he is. Bob Hope Elementary is proud to recognize Andrew Moreno. Andrew is an excellent student who routinely makes the honor roll and participates in robotics as well as our leadership club and the World Changers. He is a valuable part of every teacher's classroom as a peer tutor. His desire to be a scientist is evident as he has placed in every science fair since the 1st grade. Andrew is truly an amazing example of the Bob Hope All-Stars, and they congratulate him on being their Student of the Month.
Great work.
Next, we have our middle school students. At McAuliffe Middle School, Student of the Month is 8th grade Abigail Becerra. She has been a member of the McAuliffe Mariachi Performance Group since 6th grade, where she plays the violin. Abigail's favorite subject in school is science, and she is interested in biology and the medical field. Abigail was nominated for Student of the Month by her tech application teacher, Mr. David Herrera. He stated Abigail is always present, attentive, curious, engaged, and polite. Mr. Herrera believes Abigail should be recognized as well as her parents for having raised and instilled great values and a great attitude into their daughter. Abigail would like to thank her parents, Martha and Guadalupe Becerra, for always reminding her that education comes first. Next student is from McNair Middle School. Caitlin A. Velasquez is an 8th grade student at McNair Middle School. She is in the wind ensemble band and jazz band and is a band officer. She is a GT and pre-AP and honor roll student who received all A's in 2015 and 2016. That's a great accomplishment. She has been in the Central Soccer Association League for 6 years and in the McNair soccer team for 2015-2016. Her many other activities and awards include robotics, safety patrols, GT, honor roll student, fine arts award, Science Fair district finalist, 2nd place, Science Fair 5th grade finalist, also 1st place there, AAA, maps, graphs, etc., 5th place, and Texas PTA Reflection Program. She was a state finalist, award for the excellence for the category intermediate. And finally, for the high school, we'd like to recognize Haley Rips. Haley has been a participant of San Antonio Pre-Freshman Engineer Program, also known as PREP, since 6th grade. This past summer, she applied and was accepted into a prestigious internship with CPS Energy. Through her internship, Haley had the opportunity to shadow a mentor and was able to observe the work experience out in the field. She attended meetings and had the opportunity to visit numerous power plants run by the company. The internship was a daily commitment that helped prepare her for her future. Haley is involved in FFA, Math Honor Society, National Honor Society, and National Technical Honor Society. She previously served as Vice President for FFA and is now serving as Sentinel. She has also found time to work at Domino's outside of school. Haley plans to attend UTSA for 2 years and then transfer to the University of Texas or Texas A&M to complete a degree in engineering.
We're going to take a group photo or listen to this gentleman right here. Smile and 1, 2, 3. Okay, Reese, right there. Karen, want to take one? So we want to congratulate our students of the month. They are representative of many great students we have in our system, and we know behind each one of our students of the month are our parents of the month. We'd like to ask our parents and families of our students up here, would you please stand so that we can applaud you and thank you for everything you do. I know you're having a great time, but that concludes. Great job. I think we have another resolution.
We do, sir. During tonight's recognition, we will also acknowledge Human Resources Awareness Month coming up in October. Governor Greg Abbott has declared October Human Resources Awareness Month and Human Resources Day to honor the vital role human resources professionals play in today's workforce. In addition, the Texas Association of School Personnel Administrators designated October 12 as Texas Education Human Resources Day to specifically highlight the work of the HR professionals in Texas school districts. Here's the proclamation. Whereas the Human Resources Division is instrumental in recruiting, selecting resources, and retaining quality staff in support of providing an excellent education for all students, and whereas Human Resources plays a key role in fostering satisfaction and loyalty among employees by allowing for professional growth and development and keeping employees informed about policies, working conditions, compensation, and benefits. And whereas Human Resources monitors and manages current and future workforce trends, organizational culture, legal and legislative trends, and ethical and social responsibility. And whereas human resources is an important part of the district leadership and is vital to the overall productivity and efficiency of the district's workforce. And whereas human resources is a valued and respected department that sustains the district's most important assets, its people. Therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Southwest Independent School District resolves that October 12, 2016 will be observed as Texas Education Human Resources Day throughout the district. The board also encourages students, staff, and parents to express their appreciation to the Human Resources team for their dedication and commitment to Southwest ISD employees and students.
So I'd like to congratulate our Human Resource Department. If we have any of our folks here, would you please stand? It's your month this month. So, Mr. President, that concludes our recognitions. Again, we're extremely proud of our Students of the Month. They started off the 16-17 school year, obviously where people are recognized the value that they bring to their campuses. We thank them for starting off so great and encourage them to continue that throughout the rest of the year. So thank you guys so much for being here, and thank you parents for having your students here to celebrate this.
As far as the exciting part of the night is over. The rest of it is kind of boring. We'd be glad to have everybody if they want to stay, but anybody that would like to leave now, I'll give you a minute or so where you can get out, and then we'll go on with the meeting. I was going to say, I hadn't been 100% ever before.
Yeah. Lloyd.
We have enough here. Yeah. I can move it up.
Okay, that's fine.
We can each-
That's somebody you forget about.
No, we didn't forget.
Okay,
It's
good,
later on, but we can move it up. Mr. President, could we move up item J under items of information before we get into the rest of this? We have another student here, and she's placed under items of information, but I think it'd be great to let her go first and let her family go.
So you want to go item J next?
Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding. Yes.
Yes,
Hugs and
there is
kisses.
one. It's up to you.
All right. I've been asked to go over and move an item up. If we'll move over to item 7 on items of information and go down to J, annual SA Kids Attend to Win campaign.
I'd like to turn over to Dr. McAndrew at this time.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Frazier, Dr. Burford. You know, last Friday was a great day for Southwest ISD. I think probably some of you saw it on television, but if you weren't aware of it, there was a special press conference that was held at Region 20. And it celebrated a program called SA Kids Attend to Win. So this is a program that tracks attendance at 3, soon to be 4 school districts that have led in this program in San Antonio, and then provides incentives for students to improve attendance. The districts that have led, besides Southwest Independent School District, include the Harlandale District, San Antonio ISD, and Northeast ISD. But this year, it was the work of Southwest and the leadership, frankly, of Dr. Versta, superintendent, that were highlighted. So the press conference started off with Dr. Versta welcoming the attendees. And the attendees at the press conference, I want you to know, included Ana Acevedo from the city, Senator Jose Menendez from District 26, the Mayor Pro Tem of San Antonio. I also want you to be aware that in Southwest, the main folks, the workforce, that support this endeavor is led by Dr. Patty Escobedo and includes Omar Arispe, our vice principal at the high school, and many other people that are responsible. I Another key part in Southwest are the representatives from communities and schools. But what I really want you to know is that the highlight of the entire press conference occurred when Dr. Versta introduced a young lady by the name of Clarissa Escobar. She was there with her mother, and you can wave there. This is your father. It is such an honor to have these folks at our meeting tonight. And we asked Clarissa especially. She gave a speech in front of a room filled with people, including all these dignitaries. But frankly, she was quite literally one of the most impressive young women that I've listened to. So we invited at that moment Clarissa and her mother to come tonight because we really believe that the Southwest Board of Trustees needs and wants to hear her words. So at this time, it's really my very great pleasure and honor to introduce to you Clarissa Escobar. Clarissa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clarissa, and I am currently a senior at Southwest High School. I was asked to speak today about my story and how I was actually able to become a senior this year. I want to start at the beginning, my freshman year. I was definitely the model student. I went to class, did all my work, listened to teachers, and talked I attended all my classes, made sure all appointments and activities were outside school hours, and met with Mrs. Garcia on a normal basis. I am so glad someone took the time for me to talk about how cooking was affecting me. I truly felt like the school and the parents really cared about me and my future by taking the time to check on me. I can honestly say I appreciate everything my high school people did to help me get back on track so that I can be successful. Because I met all my responsibilities and requirements, I am now a senior and on track to graduate in the English. Unfortunately, they made it possible for me to share my story with all the students so that I can hopefully help another student living in the same situation I'm in. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today. Next time you see me, I'll be walking the stage and on my way to college.
So I think our board and our guests can see why Clarissa was the highlight of the event. And her words and her voice really resonated with the group. We all come together in San Antonio to talk about things, and this was the importance of attending school as the most basic function of our students being successful. And sometimes in society we think that's a norm. It's not only it is a great success story. Model. I know that we heard from Dr. McAndrew, the superintendent, that had nothing to do with it. I heard the real heroes in her story were our vice principal of our high school and Warren County principal, and more so her mom and her dad could not have had courageous conversation with Clarissa. And so we're extremely proud that she represented our school district in our high school. We thank mom for bringing her to the event and being able to mom and dad thank. And God has done a tremendous job with Clarissa. It was a very proud point of life for Southwest High School that they retired of this young lady today.
Yes.
Dr. Bertha, I would be remiss if I didn't also thank Kristen Gill. She and her partner from Communities in School are a big part of this effort, but yes, I agree with you. It's kind of all about Clarissa. Thank you.
Clarissa is involved with community schools. She does a great job, and these ladies really help kind of hold her words and work with her over time.
All right, moving right along. Would y'all like to leave?
Run.
We understand.
It's a run.
It really gets boring, by the way. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, board members. You've had that in front of you. Are there questions?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion's been made and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Item 6, citizens to be heard. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, sir, we have Jessica on PSTA.
Wait a minute now.
Again?
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, and Dr. Versa. I'm Jessica Aragon, parent, second grade teacher now at Meadow Creek Elementary, and president of Southwest Texas State Teachers Association. I'm excited to introduce to you our executive board because we have all 4 of us now. Yay!
Yay.
So we have a full board now, and we have Beverly Body, kindergarten teacher. She's at Hidden Cove Elementary, and we all moved to different schools as well. So that's another exciting move for us. We have Rebecca Martinez, our treasurer. She's now at Bob Hope Elementary Pre-K. And then our newest addition is Selena Beveridge, and she is a pre-K teacher at Elm Creek Elementary. So we're really glad she's with us to complete our board. We're so excited about that. And then, of course, y'all know Susan Salinas, our TSTA staffer that's here that y'all see around and have conversations with. But our association is always willing to work with you in our school district to give the best positive working environment, the morale is up, and the learning environment for our students is really good. And on that note, I see that class size is on the agenda. And we know that we know the reason for it, and we know the timeline that you guys have. We hope that you do everything you can to hire new teachers for these schools to keep our 22-to-1 ratio for our K through 4th grade students. Research shows that smaller class size gives teachers the opportunity for more individualized instruction. And from experience, many teachers can vouch for that. When we have the maximum class size and there may be 3 or 4 students absent, there's definitely a difference in our classrooms with our instruction for the better. So we know the ratio, but if we could even be a 15-to-1 or an 18-to-1, like some other countries and other private schools, we will see the benefits that they do in their schools. We encourage you to keep the ratio down by hiring new teachers as soon as possible for all of our schools. Thanks again for everything you do, allowing us to be a part of it. It's very special for us that we can actually say we're Southwest as well. And we love and encourage all of our members to also be a part of it. So we thank you for that. You are always willing to give us the opportunity to speak and do activities and things for the district to help our students. So we thank you, and we like that you are also here to help our district be one of a kind. And like y'all always end your speeches, we are Southwest, and we're so proud to be a part of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, if you didn't show up at least once every other month, I think everybody would be sad.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
All right. The next item is item 7, items of information. We'll go to construction.
Good evening. Here to present the update for Legacy High School. Is Rafael Bedoya and Brad James.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello, Rafael. Hi.
Okay. Yes, sure.
I thought you're supposed to do it this way.
Wow.
This is what I'm
No,
thinking.
the volume's off,
This
yeah.
is the main entrance, right, to the place? Or no? Okay, so if this is the main entrance, I'd like to put something right here where everybody would see it.
It's gonna
Would say
line up.
something
You can
about
start, we'll start the drone.
Not a bigger name somewhere, but like, and then something small, like on the, so everyone would see it.
Good
when they
evening,
would come
everybody.
in.
We wait for the drone image to take off and start flying around.
I don't know what it's gonna look like.
This is board report number 22. For today, we'll only be presenting on the high school because luckily, we've already finished the middle school. They've already moved in. Everything's been working fine. We are doing some final walks of the small items that we have completed, and everything's been going well. We do have a few work orders that we're going through, but overall, everything's looking well at the middle school. So we're only flying through the high school today. You'll see here, we're working towards the west end of the campus. You can see the building's pretty much the way it's been for the past few months on the exterior. They have been doing some of the final cleaning. We should be walking exterior here pretty soon. And you can see a little bit more of the landscape that they've been doing, asphalt at the back. The Kate building here, they're working primarily on the interior now. I can share with you that back here, areas A and B, we've already started walking for substantial completion this past week. And today we started to walk on C, and we'll be moving on. You can see from the legend on the report, the areas, so you can kind of get a feel of the areas that we walk. You see a lot better definition as you've been seeing every month on the exterior of the campus. The landscape is helping out a lot. The asphalt that's been taking place and the striping also helps define what is the exterior of the campus. On the athletic side, which here you can see the edge of the practice fields. Since this drone image was taken, they've already done a lot of the grass, so you see a lot more green out there. In the interior courtyard in between the buildings, you see some of the green. We've already started to lay out trees, bushes, so everything's starting to look more like a defined campus. This parking lot had already been paved and striped since last time, and if you move here to this side, you'll see this is the only asphalt that is meant to be laid out, but because we're doing the work at the press box, we're waiting for that area of parking lot to be done towards the end for protection of it, and so we don't damage it when we go. The concession building is pretty much laid out, finishes are going on the inside. They're right now working at putting soil here and regrading to finish the final leveling of those fields. Anything you want to add that I might have missed?
No, a lot of cleanup, a lot of stuff to plant still left.
Through the last pay application that we approved, we're about 93% complete on the high school. We have a few months to go, and because the size of the building, that's why we started already to do the successful completion walks. It's going to take us a few months to get through the whole campus. You can see here the work that's taken out at the press box. They already started to work on the inside. They started, or will be starting to deliver some of the bleachers, and should be installed here in the coming weeks at the home side and the visitor side. So the stadium will start to take place, and after that they'll come and do the surfacing for the actual track, which will be one of the last things they do.
This time next month, we should have a good-looking football stadium. The bleachers will be in, a lot of the fence around the football field will be done. It should look complete.
Now you'll see a few of the pictures on the interior. You can see a lot of the finishes are there, so that's why we started to walk. We're very happy with the work that George has done on the inside. A lot of the punch lists we've been doing have been very few items, so we're very happy for that. They're doing a lot of good work on the inside. There's a lot of work to do, but they are doing a fine job inside.
And soon on our end, we will start the coordination for all the technology or projectors, cameras, and FF&E, all the furniture that will need to go into the building. So we're going to move on that pretty quickly, at least to get counts and start getting pricing on all those elements.
Some of the areas in the kitchen, of course, because it's the latter part of the project, you can still see a little bit work needs to be done on the inside, but as we're progressing, George is moving along to those areas and starting to finish up, getting us ready for punch list. Here's a group of us there walking the other day, doing interior walks.
Any questions?
I just want to comment, if you haven't seen the school, it's just incredible. We had this past weekend some students from Texas A&M who were actually in a superintendent certification process, and they were in awe. I don't think I've never seen anything like it, even in college, and I might be going overboard, but it is amazing facility, and their presentation on how it came together and the teamwork between Southwest and Pfluger and Joris is just very inspiring and great PR for our district. So I just want to thank y'all for doing that, and thank y'all for just a wonderful building that y'all put together.
Just want to say that middle school football field y'all put in Pico D this year, it works, because I heard they won the first game.
The only thing that I had mentioned, I guess, to Raphael, was you can't see the Southwest very good coming up because it's, it's a metal and it's not very thick. I don't know if y'all have talked about that. It's just that you can't really see that it's Southwest Legacy High School. Did you notice that, or is it just me?
It's kind of comparable to what we've done on the existing building out here. Use those lettering that don't get weathered and things like that. I think we're going to be excited when the press box is 100%.
Yeah, that may.
That's going to be the iconic.
That may be.
That's going to be large and your lights straight up to down there.
It'll be a much larger logo of Southwest, and it should be illuminated. So
One of the things that I guess you don't notice because of, or as you drive by, you don't notice is because of the fencing. We have the signage to actually go into each parking lot, and that has a big sign on it as well as black lettering for you to do wayfinding.
All right, guys, keep it up.
thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. All right, moving right along so we can pay for this, monthly tax office report.
We are a 1/4% higher this month than we were this time last year.
Yay, Brandon.
It was just a matter of time.
Needed some time.
All right, the financial report, investment, gifts, enrollment. Y'all stop me if you have any questions. Purchases over 25,000. Anybody have any questions there? The October calendar of events. All right, we'll go down to online auction.
Good evening.
Afternoon, sir.
District staff is scheduled our annual online auction to start November the 4th and conclude on November the 14th. These are for items that the district deems not suitable for use or no longer necessary, which can include student desks, office furniture, shelving units, technology items such as computer monitors, CPUs, and such. Limit auctioneers will be conducting the auction, and as per board policy CI, local allows the superintendent or designee to declare district materials, equipment, and supplies to be unnecessary and to dispose of these unnecessary materials, equipment, and supplies for fair market value. We will have a link on the district's homepage once that auction begins, and we will dispose of those items the week before Thanksgiving break.
Floyd's been trying to buy a cooler for how many years now? Of course, he only bids $1 on it, so we can't understand why he doesn't get it. Anybody have any questions? Thanks a lot. Sure. All right, moving down, item 8 will postpone to after executive session, and item 9, human resources, bilingual ESL classroom walkthroughs.
Yes, as you know, we came through last year, we were a pilot district for T-Test, and we used what forms they had for us. This year is our second year in T-Test, but we're looking to customize some feedback or some walkthrough forms so we can give specified instructional feedback to our teachers. So Ms. Velia went to a director's meeting at Region 20 with all the bilingual directors and kind of brainstormed and came up with the form that we have attached in order to provide quality feedback to our teachers in regards to instruction. We have to bring all these forms to you, the board, to approve before we use them. Once you do approve it, the bilingual department will get with all the teachers and kind of lay the groundwork on how they will be used before we start using them, and then we'll create them in Eduforia so they become a part of a teacher's record. So at this time, this is the form we're presenting. If you have any questions, Mr. Rockland is here. If you have any questions regarding the form, we can do that.
Anybody? Questions? Need a motion?
I move.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving down to item 10, business and financing cameras.
Yeah, I'd like to purpose that question over to Mr. Chris. So I know that you received a packet on Friday. We put in here the information that we have to that point, and I think you'll see it in the place where you're sitting, a separate looking at best value to the district. Since that time on Friday, there have been ongoing conversations, looking at folks, talking some things through. We're dealing with a very, I think, complicated aspect of understanding that there are a lot of numbers involved in technology and different types of storage capacities and different types of pixels. And so we try to kind of hash all those things out before we bring information to the board. So that process continued through yesterday and then again today. And I think we got some last minute information that is a best value to the district. And so I'll let Mr. Chris pick it up. And it is different from what we presented to you Friday.
Yes, the original that you have in your board packet was based on a per classroom. And as we started looking at, in the future, the price that we got per classroom would outweigh a total price if we go to price breaks. Because a lot of vendors will give you better pricing based on quantity. And so we went back and we asked 4 vendors that gave us that, to give us price quotes per, basically 43 classrooms. If we went and we looked at it and surveyed, and we said if we have 43 classrooms that we need to put special ed camera systems in, what would that cost be? So looking at the numbers, if you see just on the sheet there, we have 4 vendors, and there's an obvious vendor, First Service Technology, that came in with the best price. Also, we vetted and looked into the vendor. They work with other school districts. They have been providing camera surveillance systems to other districts. And so for the district moving forward, for this system that we're using for this new law, the district is recommending going with First Service Technology moving forward in purchasing these camera surveillance systems.
Are we gonna purchase that many to begin with?
Well, right now, we're going with requests, and so at this moment, we have about 3 requests. And so, working with the vendor, and we don't know, we can't predict the future of how many of their requests we're gonna get, but we wanna be prepared and ready. And if we have to do all 43, we have a pretty good price at this point.
This pricing also includes maintenance plans.
This would say, this is a cost savings to the district. The original plan included conducting over a 3-year implementation process, and that was a price per classroom. Price could change, the quote could change year to year. This kind of ties a company in to, so if we have to go with the 43 right now, we would like to do that because it'd probably be a lot cheaper to do that one time because we benefit from the price break that the company affords to us, and that we are prepared to do that way through our operations budget.
Did they take something off of what they were, like, one of the services, or?
The way they broke it down is based on, the biggest part, the cameras are cameras, and they have different resolutions, and you have cameras that have better resolution, they're gonna be more expensive, but the biggest part of because they're standalones, there's servers involved, and like hard drives, like a flash drive, if you want 8 gig or 32, well, these are like TBs, and I don't even know the terabytes. And so, depending on the system, like take Southwest High School, where they may have more classrooms, they're able to use a bigger server that instead of buying one server every time we do a classroom. So really, the servers is where we see the biggest savings in the pricing, and that's why they were able to really be competitive when we took out and said, hey, give us what it's going to cost to do. Let's say we had 7 classrooms at Southwest High School. We just need one server for all those classrooms, and it's a standalone. That's where they ought to make up the difference on the pricing.
But we're making the commitment to purchase all 43 classrooms
We're-
upfront.
Well, right now, we're going to, moving forward with it, right now, this for board approval, we're going to meet with the vendor and say, right now, we have 3 requests. We don't know what we're anticipating. And so we're going to work with the vendor to see if this price will stay hold and give us a timeline. And if it doesn't pan out, then we'll come back and see, meet with the vendor and kind of maybe renegotiate.
So what's the timeline?
The timeline is, it's really up to us to decide that.
Or what the
Yeah.
company's willing to do?
Yes, and it's working with the vendor, and I think the vendor is willing to work with us, but at this time, if moving forward, this is kind of where we want to go, because we can't anticipate what requests we're going to
Does
get.
the price include the maintenance plan?
Correct, yes.
So we're saving like $83,000?
Well, the maintenance plan is 95 for the equipment, and it's about 25,000 a year for the maintenance. And the maintenance gives you quarterly preventive care updates and the softwares. Similar to what we have right now with our system that we use. We have hours where they come out and we can call them, say, hey, this camera's broke, they go fix it, and we pay that up front. In most of our softwares, we do that, so that we can keep the system maintained, because the biggest issue you'll run into is when there's an incident and the cameras aren't working,
Right.
and then the district's kind of maybe, we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that the camera systems are working, and that we have great maintenance plan that, so when there is an incident, the expectation is that the archives are there.
So originally, when this company bid, they were bidding $6,600 per classroom.
Per classroom,
And so,
56, yeah, 66, you're right, you're correct. Per classroom,
so if they would have done the 43 classrooms, it's like over $280,000?
correct. And that's what, and that was where we were saying,
Right. No, I understand that, but, so now they're gonna do it for 121?
That's not necessarily correct. When you get asked, for example, in instruction, if I get asked to pay 1 week,
Right, oh, no, I understand
Yeah.
that, but it's quite a bit, it's like quite a bit.
And that's where I brought up the servers is where the big savings are, because they were basically going one for one camera, one server. So that, we're adding like, basically, if we did 50 classrooms, based on that plan, we'd had 50 different servers, and that's where that price, because you can't really look at that price and times it times 43.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the huge, but then, so you allowed the other 3 companies to give us a price for 43?
Correct.
And, okay.
We went back and that's why we wanted every company to give us what it was per classroom, and then we went back and said, all 4 of y'all, we want to know what it is for up to 43 classrooms.
So if somebody tomorrow writes a request to have special education, cameras put in all of our classes, that would force us to put them in all of the classes?
Correct, and right now, based with working with special ed department and Mr. Figueroa going around and walking the buildings with different groups, the different companies, we've come up with 43 classrooms at this moment.
I would go on the assumption somebody's gonna do that.
And that's,
Why would somebody want to put them all in?
Well, I think that maybe there's a community member that thinks it's important to have cameras in classrooms where kids do not have a voice. They can't tell their parents what's going on in the classroom. And then the child has some huge behavior challenge that they don't normally have, and the parent doesn't know what's going on. And then maybe later on, through more investigation, they find out what's going on, but it could have been stopped a lot sooner. My concern is for those classrooms that those children do not have a voice. They just don't. They can't tell their parents what's going on, so I'm more of, let's put, $120,000 to protect ourselves and to protect the children that have no voice, to me is a bargain. So I would just go on that assumption that somebody's gonna do that.
I think our original plan was to phase it in over time to allow staff to kind of kick the tires and test drive the system. But with the information we're finding out and the cost savings, we're fully prepared to go down that road as well. If we approve, we would like to lock in this price because we don't think we can find a better price. And then we'd like an opportunity to meet with the vendor and see exactly what they're, and then come back and talk to the board at the next brown bag and provide information. But we will be in that position to do exactly that. And this is a process that's not for surveillance, so that
Right.
everyone
No.
is for investigative purposes only for students who may not be well or able to
Well-
see, and also for staff who may
Yeah,
be.
because you might have a teacher that's doing everything right in the classroom and the parent comes and says, I think she's abusing my child. It's a good way to protect our own employees.
I think it's also preventative. It's, it really makes people think about, what they're doing.
And it only takes one bad thing to happen and then we're gonna kick ourselves that we didn't do it.
Other comments?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Stipends.
Yes, back in August, I brought the pay scale. Along with the pay scale, I brought the district brought the district stipend list for 2016, 2017. Anytime we make any changes to that, the list is kind of a working document. And so there are some changes made to STEM stipends, especially elementary STEM stipends and also middle school STEM stipends. Some stipends were added, some new ones created, and also district content leads in lieu of some positions that were not filled. So we're bringing these back so that the board can approve these. And that's the recommendation, is that the board approve the new changes to the STEM stipends for 2016, 2017.
So the only change to this, Mr. President, is on page 188, the second group of stipends from the bottom.
Yes,
which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Starting with the elementary.
Stipends, starting at WeDo and stopping at middle school STEM stipend, correct?
Correct.
And then the
Everything
solar,
else has already been.
And then the solar's up at the top. It's back on the current tech. Yeah.
But they didn't exist, or we're increasing
Mo-
them?
And to be honest with you, the solar car and also some of these STEM stipends did exist, and they weren't on the list. And there's not a really good reason why they shouldn't be there. And as part of the cleanup to make sure we have one uniform stipend list, correct.
And what did you say that the district content lead ones,
Uh,
they existed or they're new?
These are actually new stipends that are added due to, we didn't hire a social studies content and also a science. And so this allows certain teachers that we kind of give them an extra stipend to work some of those things that, due to the fact that we don't have those positions.
I have a question, it's probably, it's not technically how much the stipend is, but for the English language arts, we have, I guess, 2 teachers at each campus. One is 3 through 5, one is K through 2. So in the science, social studies, why do we just have 1? And we're paying them double?
So I have to look at the stipend and see if we split it.
Yeah, split it.
Yeah, so we actually split, we have ELAR, we have one person that's working grades 3 through 5, and then another one working K through 2, and that's not at every campus. That is a district-wide piece. In social studies, if I'm looking right,
K through 5.
we just have a K through 5 one, so we just have one person. So the overall stipend was $5,000, and we split that if we had 2 people working the different grade
Well,
levels.
I guess my question
Yeah.
is, why don't we have 2 people working science?
We-
Like somebody concentrating, like we have the K through 2, and then somebody 3 through 5. I'm just curious.
So I don't have probably the right answer for that, other than I feel very strongly that we have the right people involved. We have one very strong person in the elementary that we're very comfortable with, and we felt very strongly about the 2 people in the other contract, and so that would be my response.
Okay, I'm just curious, and so you said it's only one person that's in charge of all the elementaries, or one in each elementary?
No, so we have, in our past at CNI, we've had content coordinators we've had specialists and we've had coordinators. So we've had 2 people in ELAR, 2 people in social studies, 2 people in science, 2 people all over. And so our real focus is on ELAR and algebra, right? I mean, ELAR and math. And so what we did was we repositioned 2 of our coordinator positions, right? And we made them district instruction coaches. And those 2 people have a sincere interest and are very experts also in math and in writing. And so we felt very strongly that we could drive curriculum with those people in those positions, but then we needed to add some additional support to social studies and science. And those are the 2 content areas that are least tested throughout the system. Reading and math, you're tested 3 through 9 or 10, just about in every grade level. In social studies, you're tested in grade 5. Science, you're tested in grade 5. And then in science, it's the same way. So we didn't feel like we needed to put that entire position into 2 grade levels, if that makes sense.
Any other comments? Need a motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the stipends as listed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Letter of credit to Bear County Public Works.
Yes, sir. The district has an agreement with Bear County Public Works and the Bear County Judge that once the project at Legacy High School and Resnick Middle School is completed, actually the Verano Parkway roadway was for us to turn it over to the county. And that project, that part of the project is complete. In order for us to turn over the roadway, the county is requiring us to basically warranty it. Well, we have a warranty based through bonding with Joris, but they won't accept that because Joris doesn't own the road, so they won't accept their bonding. And so 2 things could happen. One, we get bonding ourselves, which is, the road was about $560,000, and so a bond is about 10% of that, so we'd have to pay about $50,000. Or we go through our bank, which is called a irrevocable letter of credit, which is, there's some bank fees up to about maybe, I haven't got the fees yet, this is kind of the process, but it's between $4,000 to $7,000. And they give us a letter of credit, and we give that to the county, and the county will take that as the leverage for the warranty.
For how long?
For up to 1 year.
Okay, so letter of credit is for 1 year?
For 1 year. And that's what we're basically on the hook with the county for 1 year.
Any other letters of credit besides that?
Have we ever?
Will this be the only letter?
This will be the only letter of credit. Part of the letter of credit is we have to put it in Wells Fargo, our banking depository. We have to hold the $563,000 in a CD, which is ours, and it has to stay there for 1 year, which we're able to do. And then once the timeline is up, as soon as we hand them the letter, the clock starts. And when that time is up, then
Why do we pick Wells Fargo?
they're our bank depository. That's who we do our bank depository
I
with.
heard a lot about them today, and I just wanted
Oh, yeah, yes. So we're asking the board to approve the resolution. There's a resolution for this that the bank needs to issue a letter of credit to the county from the district.
So after a year, we're not on, the county has to fix the road out.
Basically, what's going to happen, if the road crumbles, for some reason, George is going to fix it. Because that's,
during the year.
yes, in this year, because we have a warranty through George. They will not accept that. So all we're doing is giving them a letter of credit, basically saying we're not leaving, and they're going to be stuck with a road that's
Broke.
somehow got messed up through construction methods.
How they will take it and keep it up.
I can't tell you that, sir.
Do all ours out here?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I don't know.
Other
The question
comments?
she asked is, why is it named Verano Park?
That's, where's Thomas at? Thomas knows the answer to this.
The reason being on that, ultimately in the city's major thoroughfare plan, that street will connect to the Verano Parkway in front of Texas A&M University.
Okay.
So in that case, we just kept the name and added the Southwest on it, so it would, because it's gonna be segmented for some time, at least until Mr. Rip sells or develops his property, that road will never connect, so until that happens, it'll be Southwest Farm.
Yeah.
We have all of our school names on the rest of the streets.
We're able to name the internal,
Yeah.
I was just
Nice.
curious.
Very good.
Need a motion?
Some of the
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. What is your two more things? Oh, come on now. Only, does he have one more thing? That's unreal.
Mona said he has done one more.
All right, anybody else before we go into executive session? All right, I gotta read these numbers. Under Texas Government Code 551.001-551.146, we go into executive session. Then we go back to item 8, superintendent, and A on that is superintendent's recommendation on personnel.
Move we approve the superintendent's recommendation on personnel.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the superintendent's recommendation on personnel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving on to item B under 8, consideration of possible action concerning pending litigation.
I move to accept the recommendation of the superintendent and the school's attorney and direct the superintendent and the school's attorney to proceed as discussed in closed session concerning student versus Southwest Independent School District before a special education hearing officer for the state of Texas, docket number 344 SE 0816.
I second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Dr. Verstoff, what is your one more thing tonight?
So we're doing something called the Superintendent's Scholar Summit next Wednesday night. We're inviting our
The-
core complete students.
The superintendent's going to college?
Yes, finally. We didn't get a real one. And so we're inviting our top 10%
Missed one.
students from every class, 9 through 12, to kind of a special evening where we're going to have a guest speaker.
This was probably
Some
my
Ivy
big
League
idea.
representation to try to get our kids engaged with thinking outside of Texas, and letting them know that there are opportunities for them to go to Ivy Leagues. And so,
And so the top 10,
top 10%.
top 10%.
So we're looking, and they all got
70
invites.
kids about?
Depends, probably 70 to 110.
Okay.
depending on what grade level they're at. So we're hoping that we have a good turnout. It's the first time that we're trying something like this. So it's kind of
So
unique.
all
and
four
different.
grade levels.
Oh,
All
a
four grade levels.
4, yeah.
So it could be
We're also
400.
including some of our students at
400,
the
right.
ninth grade that wouldn't necessarily be in the top 10% that are part of the TSI Full Complete already.
Yes.
Those kids have been included.
That's great,
Yeah.
because they're high achievers anyway.
We want our kids to see Yale and Harvard.
Do you need to, I told Alex about it, but you need to, I don't know. Oh, good. Sorry.
And we will have a former graduate speaker.
Well, we will, but it will not be from Harvard, but it's good enough, Stanford.
That's not as good.
It's better.
If you come,
You can buy tickets, yeah.
How about Saul
so we'd
Ross?
like you all to be there. It's going to be our first time to do
Next
this.
Wednesday.
We want to expose our students. We want our friends to bring the banners and the pictures of their universities so our kids can learn. My understanding is that there's a low socioeconomic status of our students that they can virtually have that college
For free.
free and very low cost.
So Stanford, if your
irrevocable
parents
letter of
make less than
credit, do we have to sign
100,000,
that?
it's free. I wish that was true. Huh? Yeah,
You
that's
just
right.
had to get in, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how
What time is it at?
It's a great start to the year. We've got
Next
some things
Wednesday?
going on. Energy, a lot of energy, a lot of things going on.
Well, that's your first thing. What's your second thing, sir?
I will go later. We'll come here first and then.
Guys, between the two of y'all can't figure out what his second thing is?
Well, you know, everything's covered in, it's all right there.
Y'all are so efficient.
Okay.
I knew you had a second thing.
What is that?
Tobin?
It's a fine arts event where all our elementary school campuses get together and show a concert. So we all are
It's actually the same thing as Tiffany.
Yeah, yes, yes.
And those ones perform from-
They come here.
They come to the high school, to the high school.
When tomorrow?
Beautiful.
When tomorrow?
We have a very positive start with swim, Learn to Swim, as part of Swim America. And we have a meeting set up with George Block to learn about some humanitarian facilities that we will want to do for the best stakeholders for the energy.
How about if we did an auditorium like those practice fields that some of the football teams use that are like tents, sort of, like almost semi-permanent tents? For an auditorium, until we can afford to build the walls. No? Okay. Yeah.
Trying for 3?
That's it.
Caravan leaves 11 o'clock.
I knew you had it in you. All right, we're adjourned at 8 o'clock.